They went through and I actually caught up to the car who was driving the other car because it was dark. I can tell you now, but I couldn't tell you then. So for me to sit and try to put my spin on exactly why that is, that wouldn't be fair. I can tell you that for me and where I sit, we may have officers that may do things that may not be right, but I can tell you that there are far more officers that do come to work every day and put their life on the line for strangers. For strangers. If I ask you, if somebody was doing something, would you put your life on your line for your family? And you'd say, absolutely. But I have to leave my house with my kids and everything every day to be willing to put my life on the line for a stranger. And there are other officers who don the uniform every day to do the same thing.
Definitely.
We probably have time for one more question, and then he's got to book it to another meeting.
Okay. I guess the final question, I guess, stepping away from all that, definitely stepping into, a more city-centric light. What is the police department of Durham, Sheriff's Office of Durham doing to foster better relations between police and the community?
Whoa, it's a good question, and I have a good answer for you. What we're trying to do is, I'm in charge of Community Services Division, okay? And I can talk about my division and what we do. I'm in charge of officers that work in 26 schools. My officers right now have been asked and tasked beginning of the year to go into the classrooms. And when they go into the classrooms, they're talking to kids about a variety of subjects. It wasn't we were going to go in and talk about one thing, okay? But we found that when you go in and you ask kids, hey, I know there's a lot of things going on in the community these days. What questions do you have? The floodgates open, right? And not only are the officers allowed to learn more about the kids, but the kids are enjoying those conversations because the kids finally get to see something from a different perspective that they may not have seen. So here's how we make a difference in just doing that. The average, we have like 30 officers doing that just from my division. 30 officers who go into a classroom one day a week. In that classroom, it has an average of 25 kids. So that's 750 children that we interact with each week. 4 weeks in a month, 9 months a year. By the time the school year is over, that's 27,000 positive interactions that we'll have in the community. Because ultimately, the schools are nothing but a small microcosm of the community. So we have a lot of kids that come to school every day, bright-eyed, ready to work, ready to do their stuff, and ready to learn. And those are our future leaders who go out into the community. So that's one. Secondly, I have a lot of my motor officers who are going to daycares and elementary schools, and they're reading to kids. So we can see that, and they can see that uniform. What usually happens with us, and it may have happened to you when you were younger, we go into a store, we see little kids, and what mom and daddy usually say is, if you don't behave, I'm gonna make this man lock you up. And all of a sudden, do we seem friendly to that little child? No. So we're trying to, Anthony Browder has a book called Exploding the Myths. So we're trying to explode the myths of what people think about law enforcement and trying to put a humanistic face on what we do. What we do is a hard job, but we're trying to build the bridges, one person, one decision, one thing at a time. And we're trying to build those bridges by actually getting out and actively engaging with the community. During the summer, I had my guys going out, not to do anything else, but go into the community. If you find kids playing basketball, get out of your car and play basketball with them. If you see them throwing the football, get out of the car and throw the football. We have some guys who can't play basketball or anything, but the beautiful part about that, whenever they get out of the car and they can't play basketball, and a little boy crosses them up with a nice crossover, he's, I broke that cop's ankles, So they laugh about it, they joke about it, but now we have kids who, in other words, would say, I don't want to talk to the popo, who are now sitting down laughing with an officer. Laughing and joking. Yes, about how he crossed them over and this, that, and the other, but they're having a conversation. They're actually having a conversation, and they're getting to learn more about him or her, and he's getting to know more about them. He's getting to know more about the community that they live in, the community that they're growing up in. Because believe it or not, we have kids that are growing up in situations that I tell you, they survive and they win every day just because they come to school. And the officers appreciate that. And they're trying to build the bridges with those kids one at a time. And that's how we're trying to do what we're trying to do to expel or deal with that perception in the community. Now, I can't deal with perceptions of things that go on in other states, but what I can tell you is we fall prey to that here in Durham because they see a uniform And all they see is, well, you know, that happened over there. But we're trying to let them know that that doesn't have to be Durham. We can keep Durham moving positive, moving ahead.
Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Okay.
It was nice to talk to you.
I
Happy
hope,
Veterans
I
Day,
hope
by
it's
the way.
good. Yes.
Oh, it's excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Got his name and title?
Here's the card.